moved up to third. Our first guest this morning has the talented Uncle Lino going in this afternoon's San Felipe at Santa Anita. We welcome to down the stretch Mr. Gary Sherlock. Gary, Mark Cassano welcoming you to the show.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
Great, great.
Gary, Santa Anita canceled the last 3 races yesterday. How's the racetrack look this morning?
Well, it looks good. It's open. The horses are training on it. It looks like it's got a little moisture in it, but I guess the issue was it never was an unsafe bottom. I guess there was too much standing water. So much come down, it didn't drain off. But I'm sure it'll be perfect today.
Well, before we talk about Uncle Lino, who's going to try to upset this afternoon's San Felipe, I want to ask something about you. You beat the odds in a very important game, the game of life, a number of years ago. Tell us about that.
Well, I had what they call a dissection of the carotid artery. Didn't happen to know what it was. It took like 10 days to diagnose it. And, the odds were 1 in 4 to heal. And anyway, it was one of the ones. So we made it out of that okay. And needless to say, I had to quit training then for a while, and so they had my blood so thin they didn't want me around horses and everything. So I went in the insurance business. I insured horses and did all the workers' comp for the trainers. So I did basically the same thing I do today, only without the barn. I come to Santa Anita every morning and races every day. But then I went, back after 10 years. I got back in it.
Well, we are thrilled that you beat the 3-to-1 odds. That's terrific. I remember when you came here to Saratoga, I think it was it 2008 with Tangaroo to win the Ballerina? That had to be exciting.
That was very exciting. And matter of fact, we were talking yesterday a little bit about it. I would like to maybe take a shot with Lost Bus that same race this year. We'll see how she progresses on. But because it's 7/8, and so far 7/8 has been her wheelhouse, and I'd like to run the Breeders' Cup, which is 7/8 here right at Santa Anita. So we'll see what it takes to get her qualified for the Breeders' Cup race.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Lost Bus upset the Santa Monica at 64-1. She won a race yesterday before they canceled. Why don't you bring her for the Ballerina and hopefully Uncle Lino for the Travers or the King's Bishop and enjoy part of summer here in Saratoga?
I like your thinking. Good chance.
All right, Gary, let's talk Uncle Lino. As our audience watches a piece of his maiden victory last November at Del Mar, and as we pick it up, Uncle Lino is number 2. He is inside in front under pressure. You bought him for $52,000, and I read, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit here, you said, I'm going to take a chance on him growing up. What'd you mean by that?
Well, he just at the time, his withers hadn't come up, and he needed to just do a few things and change, but I love the way he walked, and I liked the horse, and I liked his head, I liked everything about him. And, got lucky and got him.
He debuted last July. He ran very well to get beat in a photo, then went to the sidelines for 4.5 months before that maiden win. Gary, what sent him to the sidelines?
Well, he come out of I'll tell you what, the track he ran on at Del Mar was 100 times worse than the one yesterday. There was 2 feet of water, and he was down the inside, and he ran unbelievable. He ran second, just got beat ahead. But he come back a little funky behind, nothing broken or anything, but he just was off and off. So then I was going to run him at the Oak Tree in September, and he popped the splint. So I fired the splint, and then wind up starting him in November. So.
Gary, take a moment to describe him for us. Now, what does he look like physically?
Oh, he's gorgeous. He's a perfect horse. I mean, he's as good looking as they get.
And mentally,
the biggest thing about this horse, Mark, is that he has something I usually don't get for my budget. He's got a lot of pedigree. His mother's a sister to Shackelford, so he's got no limitation on quality because of his pedigree. Even Tangaroo didn't have a pedigree. I mean, she did fantastic, But still, I bought her for $37,000, and that was in her ballpark. But I got lucky on this horse. Just First crop Unky Mose, so he was below average, and now he's above average horse.
I'll certainly say so. He made his stakes debut in last in the Robert Lewis. For our audience, Uncle Lino, number 7 in here. The Lewis, not only his stakes debut, but his 2-turn debut as well. Gary, talk about this effort, if you would.
Well, there was that horse of Guillaume's, Lacan, I think his name is, another Uncle Bo. He ran second in the Gotham the other day. Anyway, he was in the race, and I was going to let him go out there with Hollendorfer's horse, and he scratched, so there was no speed, so I had to kind of just lay right off of him, which we did. I will score, and then he put him away, but because of the dope pace, Gary Stevens on More Spirit was able to just get a dream triple just right off of me. So when I jumped, when we went, we passed I Will Score. Gary's only about a length and a half back, so it took a little time to get by us.
Yeah, you had to do some of the dirty work in here.
Exactly.
And you won the battle, you lost the war, but today, at least on paper, it's a different story in the San Felipe. There is much more speed. Now, you've drawn the rail. Ideally, what type of trip would you like to get?
Well, I'd like to see those 3 horses go and get a seam where he can get out a little bit. That would be the ideal thing. But Cupid is scratched, so he won't run. But there's still plenty of speed in there. So I'm hoping we're laying right behind the speed. And this time I hope we get a better jump on Exaggerator and More Spirit to be behind us. So
right.
I think it'd be a good race. Like Bradford said, it should be $1 million because the Derby is going to look the same. This
is an awfully good race. Gary, has Uncle Lino ever been in behind horses taking dirt?
Oh, yeah. Yes, he has. Matter of fact, I sent his last work, which was phenomenal. I put him behind 3 horses, and he just worked great. Took dirt all the way around. And so he can do that.
Well, here is that last work. We've got a piece of it. It was last Saturday morning at Santa Anita, went 5/8 in 59 and 3.
Yeah, he's the last horse in blue, and there's 3 horses in front of him. And you see at the quarter pole, he goes kind of wide and gets to the front, and my 2 horses, they stop, but another horse, I go, what the hell was that horse? He took off, right? So as you see, he'll eventually catch that horse at the wire, go head-to-head at the wire with the horse. Well, come to find out, that horse is in the San Diego handicap today.
Yeah, well.
Class leader for John Sadler, so.
Gary, I've been reading several articles, and in those articles, you've stated that the goal is to get Uncle Lino to the Santa Anita Derby as well as you could possibly get him there. Does that mean that this afternoon's race is strictly a prep? It's just a stepping stone to the Santa Anita Derby?
No, it's not a prep, but it's not the end all. In other words, if he runs good here, if he runs second or third and improves off his last race, that's a good result. But like I said, the ultimate goal, the way I've trained the horse and what I've done to the horse, I wanted him pitch perfect for the Santa Anita Derby. So, yeah, he's ready to run. I don't have any excuses. I'm not making excuses. But the reason my end result was the end game was the Santa Anita Derby because that determines the rest of it.
Yep.
Everybody else talks Kentucky Derby right away. Well, I look like this. If he can't run 1-2 in the Santa Anita Derby, we won't be going to Louisville.
Well, Gary, first of all congratulations on the successes with Uncle Lino. Nice job with him. Also, congratulations with Lost Bus. And thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch.
All right, Mark. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Gary. Gary Sherlock.